He's allowed to take the easy way out. He pleads guilty to manslaughter. And then laughingly, it looks like he was the victim as the sentence was being read.
So do you think 1 year in prison is fair? Give us a call, 1-877-TEL-HLN. We want to hear from you. And joining me now is criminal defense attorney Tamara Holder and attorney Lisa Bloom, a legal analyst for our sister network, CNN. Thank you both so much for being here. Tamara, so this man, he pled guilty to killing his wife. Prosecutors agreed to 1 year in prison. How does that happen?
Well, he didn't plead guilty to killing his wife. He pled guilty to manslaughter, and that was only because he was an experienced diver and he was supposed to come to the aid of an inexperienced diver, and that's what people need to understand. He did not plead guilty to the murder of his wife.
He pled guilty to manslaughter, and that, of course, was a lesser sentence.
Correct, and it wasn't, the facts weren't that it was the husband killing his wife, it was that he was experienced and he should have come to her aid and he should have helped her, which he did not. He rose to the top of the water to allegedly assist to get help from somebody else. Did
prosecutors not have a strong enough case otherwise? And that's why they agreed to a plea deal?
I don't think they did. Yeah, I mean, they said, they said in their statement, we didn't want to put the family through a trial. But what prosecutors don't put families through trial? I mean, imagine the O.J. Simpson case. They put that 2 families through trial. I mean, that is not a reason why you don't go to trial. And they just didn't have a strong enough case, so they worked out a deal. If they had a strong case, you bet they would have gone to trial.
Okay, let me go to Lisa right now, because, Lisa, we know that the family, we heard from the father there, they are appalled. What else are they saying?
Yeah, one of the things the father has said is that his daughter was asked by her husband to raise the amount of life insurance that she had and name him as the beneficiary. This was just before they got married. She wasn't really comfortable doing that, but she told him that she had done it when secretly she had not. So that would give him potentially a financial motive, although even 11 days after a wedding, it's kind of hard to imagine that that would be a sufficient motive. Tamara is right. Look, plea bargains are tough, and both sides have to look at what they have and what they don't have. It looks to me like the prosecution just did not have enough to get him on a murder conviction, so they get him on a lesser charge, manslaughter. They get a certainty of a conviction. They get him 1 year behind bars of a 4.5-year sentence. The rest of it suspended. And P.S., in the U.S. on manslaughter charges, that's about what it is here in some states as well, 3 to 6 years. Some of that's suspended. That wouldn't be out of the question here.
Okay, Mike Brooks is with us as well. And by the way, Mike is a rescue diver himself and an investigator. This guy was a certified rescue diver, as are you again. Do you buy his account of what happened?
You know what? This guy was a rescue diver. He was trained to do this. I think, and early on, there were witnesses who said that they thought that he had turned her air off and then waited for her to suffocate and then turned it back on again and just let her slip away from his grasp. You know, it really does kind of tick me off, you know, the Australian courts. But it looks like they did not have really enough evidence, as Tamara said, to really go forward with, with a murder charge.
Okay, so the prosecutors weren't convinced, but this family is saying they are absolutely convinced that this man killed their daughter. What makes them so certain? Because a motive does seem a bit ambiguous at this time.
Yeah, well, the whole motive of the insurance money, because he actually did contact the insurance company about the beneficiary, him being the beneficiary after her death. So if he was the grieving husband, all he was worried about the insurance. Come on, I don't think so.
Yeah, and I could add to that he's a certified rescue diver. He made no efforts to help her, and he gave conflicting statements afterwards. One of the things he said was she was too heavy for him to bring to the surface. You see in those pictures, she's a little bitty thing. He's a big, strong, young guy. And another rescue, a scuba diver, did carry her up to the surface. So that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, you wonder why he didn't do it himself.
All he has to do
But it doesn't make a lot of sense that if the witnesses were so great and if all of these accounts were so conflicting, then that means that the prosecution's case would have been great and they would have taken this to trial. They wouldn't have made such an offer. I mean, and it's a matter of the strength of the case. And so the family, I think, is looking for, a reason. But remember, the life insurance policy wasn't that much money. I mean, it was nice, but it wasn't like, we're not talking about millions of dollars here. So, a motive, they're looking for something, and I feel bad for the family, But
People
if
have
the
been
case were
killed
strong,
for not
if the
much
witnesses are
money at
strong,
all.
they would have prosecuted.
Okay, but Tamara, let me ask you this, since you're bringing up money, is there a possibility for a civil suit in this case at this point?
There's always a possibility for a civil suit, and that's probably what's going to follow. I mean, the burden is so much lower for the family to win a case against this man for the wrongful death. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt or anything like that. I mean, and so maybe maybe they'll get justice of some sort that way by winning that kind of case.
Sure, and on the civil side, I used to practice civil litigation. I mean, he clearly has an obligation to help his own wife when he's a certified diver, and she's the beginner, and his negligence and his failure to do that, I'm sure, would result in a judgment against him. The question is, does he have any money? Probably not. He's a young guy. He's about to serve a year in prison, but they could get his wages garnished for the rest of his natural life.
All righty, Lisa Bloom, Tamara Holder, and Mike Brooks, all of you, your expertise is really important to us, and we thank you so much for being with us.